Happy Sunday night, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Captain Dylan Hubbard here with Captain Anthony Belmonte from Hubbard's Marina. We're going to be talking about nearshore and offshore fishing tips and tricks. And we're going to be starting up here shortly. If you're watching this live, just give us a few minutes. We'll get started. If you're not watching this live, you can go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. Thanks for tuning in, guys. It's going to be a good show tonight, and I appreciate y'all tuning in to watch it with us. So stay tuned. We're going to get rolling here very shortly. Again, if you're not watching this live, go ahead and scoop forward to where you see the video start. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. We'll be right with you. Having a great weekend. We'll be right with you. Happy Sunday night, guys. Captain Dylan Hubbard here from Hubbard's Marina with the Sunday Night Live Fishing Show. This is our weekly live stream show. I've got Captain Anthony in the studio tonight talking about some nearshore and offshore fishing tips and tricks, the Flying Hub 2, and all the ins and outs of deep water fishing. So it's going to be a really exciting show tonight. Hopefully you guys are having a great weekend. We're going to be talking with Captain Anthony about the Flying Hub 2 and some of that deep water fishing. We're going to be giving a fishing report. We're going to be talking about what's going on at Hubbard's Marina, talking about red tide updates, and a lot more. So make sure you click like if you love fishing, share this stream with your friends. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us loud and clear. And if you're watching this live, give us a few minutes and we'll get started. If you're not watching this live, you can go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. I appreciate you guys tuning in every week to join us for these live stream fishing shows. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to a great show tonight. I know we are, and we're excited to share with you guys some good information and lots of tips and tricks. We got a lot of exciting stuff coming up at Hubbard's Marina as far as fishing to look forward to. Fall's just around the corner, and gag grouper season is gonna be in full swing, that's for sure. Don't you love fall?
Fall is going to be very good. I love it. It's gag time of year.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. So stay tuned, guys. If you're not watching this live, go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. If you are watching this live, help us share the stream on your timeline. Share it in your favorite fishing club. Remember to click like if you enjoy fishing as much as we do. And stay tuned. We're going to get rolling here very soon. If you guys are just joining, we're going to get started very shortly. Just stay tuned here for a few minutes. If you're watching not live, you can skip forward to where you see the video start. If you're watching live, just give us a few seconds and we'll get rolling. A little bit of setup time here. Sorry for the wait, guys. Susan, we're going to get started here shortly. You're going to hear more than typing in just a second. We just got to get the video set up here and shared around. And we'll get rolling, give you a little bit of a fishing report, talk a little bit about some nearshore and offshore fishing, and more. So again, guys, if you're watching this live, just bear with us a second. If you're not watching this live, go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. Comment, tell us where you're watching from. Give us the thumbs up if you can hear us loud and clear. And hopefully you guys are ready with some good questions, because we're ready to answer them to the best of our ability. And I got a seminar coming up, surprisingly. Got called by a local group. So I've got a local seminar coming up in person for you guys to attend if you'd rather come see us in person. That should be a good one. We're going to be talking about that as well. So lots of interesting information tonight and upcoming events. Hopefully you guys are ready for another good Sunday night show. Captain Anthony Belmonte in the studio tonight. That is the first captain of the Flying Hub 2. He also does a lot of our Flying Hub 1 trips and Hub trips. Anthony, how long have you been working with us now?
I've been with the company almost 9 years.
It's been that long already?
Yes, it has.
9 years. You've been fishing a lot longer than that too, huh?
Yeah, I grew up doing it as a summer job with my uncle when he owned his commercial boat, so we got in the hang of it with that.
Fishing a long time. All right, guys, we are ready to get rolling here. Now, happy Sunday night. We're live, and I appreciate y'all joining us. Again, Captain Anthony here, and we're going to be talking a lot about some deep water fishing tips and tricks, and answering some of you guys' questions about all that stuff. Again, please comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Click like on the stream if you love these fishing shows and you love fishing as much as we do. Share this stream with your friends on your timeline or in your favorite fishing club or both. And we're going to get rolling here. Talk a little bit about what's going on now. What have you been catching out there?
It's been mainly what we're doing right now because of the red tide. Since we don't have the pinfish, we're starting off bottom fishing for the grouper, doing a lot of the red grouper, the scamp grouper. Gags are a little bit deeper, so we've been mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Throughout the trip, we've been picking up Tom Tates, little baits like that for the amberjack. But the jigging has really been the predominant producer of the jacks.
Yeah, and the jigging, there's a lot of new jigging techniques. We've been kind of referencing that here and there in these videos. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show, is to talk a lot about jigging. So don't forget that in a little bit. We want to go over some of that slow pitch jigs and the difference between the old school diamond jig. Then there was the butterfly jig. Now there's a flutter jig. There's a slow jig, a fast jig. There's all these different types of vertical jigging now, and it's really becoming a big thing. You got an all jigging trip coming up here soon, right?
Yes, we have one coming up, I believe, on the 6th and on the 13th. Taking out some guys from Fort Lauderdale. They've been jigging for quite a while now, and they actually are the ones that got me into jigging.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a 400, 500, 600 foot deep drop trip, strictly jigging, no live bait, no dead bait, nothing like that. Kind of interested to see what they can do over here. I mean, I see pictures of them doing great stuff all the time, so very interested to see how it works. And
now they've done this successfully in the Keys, the Bahamas, Fort Lauderdale, all the way up the East Coast. And now they're venturing into the Gulf Coast in Central West Florida. And we have a guy based here in Clearwater, Ryan Hanks. I've been talking to him, and he's been slow pitch jigging in our area for a while now, and he's got some seriously cool photos. It's a really unique type of fishing.
It is. It's fun. It's something new. It's different. I mean, I've never really started to do jigging until really probably the last 5 or 6 months. I know a couple of the captains in the area have been doing it. I know, it works. It really does.
Yeah, it's very interesting. But we're going to get into the jigging stuff in a little bit, guys, so stay tuned for that. Again, make sure you comment where you're watching from. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us and see us well. And hopefully you guys are excited for a good show. But back to the fishing report. Anthony told you a little bit about what he's been doing on the Flying Hub 2 out deeper. The half-day fishing trips, they've been doing really well. Again, we're not doing 5-hour half-days. We're doing 6-hour half-days. And that extra hour is absolutely free, no extra cost. And it's all because of that red tide. We're going a little bit further, get you a little bit deeper, and we're catching great fish, and plenty of them. Captain Garrett Hubbard yesterday took his sons out, and little Reese was caught such a big stringer of fish he couldn't lift it. We'll show you here real quick. It's such a cute photo. My little cousins are fishing fools, that's for sure. And little Reese especially. Check this photo out. He was on the struggle bus trying to pull that stringer of gray snapper. Couldn't quite lift it, but it's definitely pretty cool to see the kids out fishing. And it's been really, really good out here for all different types of fish. And it's really cool to see kids getting hooked on fishing, and the half-day fishing trips, a lot of fun for the whole family. We're still catching plenty of other great fish like the hogfish, lane snapper, porgies, sea bass on the half-day too. So there's plenty of other good variety as well during that 6-hour trip. And those 6-hour half days will continue through the month of September, and perhaps we're even going to continue that 6-hour half day into October. However long this red tide lasts, we're gonna keep going past it however long we need to. So those 6-hour trips may continue a little while longer, but that half price special is only good for the month of September. So make sure you come out and join us this week. It's only $27.50.
For a 6-hour trip, nobody else in the area is doing it at
No.
all. I mean, I passed them today coming in on the Flying Up 2 at 14 miles. I mean, they're out there, and everybody seemed like they were having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that. $27.50, less than $30 to get out about 14 to 16 miles, fish about 45, 50 foot of water. It's definitely a great opportunity right now, and that ends September 30th. So get on that. As far as the 10-hour all day on the Hub goes, they've been doing really well in the Hub.
They've been doing very good. I know Captain Garrett, he took out the trip last Thursday. Dave, the new captain, he just took it out Sunday, did very good on it too. And even Chris today, he went out. They got a couple grouper, bunch of lanes, vermilions, and the grays. So I mean, it's good. Fishing's good right now.
Yeah, fishing's good. We're catching plenty of them on all the different trips, the 5-hour, the 10-hour, and of course the 12-hour extreme with Captain Anthony. And we've got light loads across the board. How many people did you take out today? 10?
We took out 10 today, yes. 10.
On a Sunday. That's a busy Sunday. We had 10 people on the boat. So definitely a gorgeous time of year to come out and join us and get out there past that red tide, catch plenty of fish, and enjoy a super light load in the process. So that's our fishing report. And then as far as red tide report, the last 3 days, the red tide has really, really subsided inside Johns Pass locally. How's it looking offshore?
You're running into just patches of it, but other than that, there's really not that many dead fish. You know, it's just the common one, the pinfish. You're seeing some ladyfish, some catfish. Nothing real crazy, no grouper or hogfish, not like it was when it first started in the area. Started to seeing a couple of them pop up here and there, but really it's the fishing's still good out there.
Yeah, it's definitely no 2005 red tide. That was a bad one.
Very, very bad.
And that lasted a long time.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't last. I mean, it hurts it hurts a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah, tourism. It hurts us bad.
Yeah, it hurts the fishery too. It sucks seeing all those dead fish when you're coming in and you just see just rows of dead fish. It's just it does something. You know, we live here, we depend on it, so it's very important to us, and it sucks when it happens. It
seems like the first 3 days ago, it seemed like it was dead fish from Johns Pass all the way out to about 5 miles. But now it seems like the first inside Johns Pass is completely cleared up. So is Madeira Beach. Out to about a mile is pretty much clear. But now it's like anywhere from a mile or two out to about 5 to 6 miles is real bad.
Yep.
Starts to clear up. Gets a little bit better. About 12 miles, it starts to clear up even more. About 14 to 16 miles, it dramatically clears up. And then about 20, 25, it disappears.
Yeah, really, I mean, we're not even seeing anything past 15, 16 miles. I mean, once you get,
it's getting even better offshore too.
Yeah, you'll see one dead fish that's old and decaying. So it's not out there. It's
nice,
clear.
Well, that's all good news. Everything seems to be clearing up as far as the red tide is concerned, and hopefully that'll continue for the next couple of weeks. We need it bad. I know this east wind is supposed to continue into next weekend. So
yeah.
Good news.
Good news. Yep, it's it helps us get out there a little bit quicker too. Hey, that's all all I want.
Wind at your back, always a good thing, that's for sure. So fishing report, red tide report, that's all behind us. Definitely doing really well out there. One quick programming note. Again, please comment. Tell us where you're watching from. Give us a thumbs up if you can hear us loud and clear. Click like on this video if you enjoy the show. And share the video with your friends, please. And hopefully you're ready with some good questions for us. I did want to talk to you a little bit more about the jigging here real quick. As far as the slow pitch jigging is concerned, I think a lot of people are still confused as to what slow pitch jigging is. I've been blessed to talk to a few of the guys, and I'm starting to get a better grasp on it. I grew up with the diamond jigs. That's what we did. That was our version of jigging.
Yeah.
You'd pull out this big old diamond jig, and you just jig the heck out of it. And you jig it all the way up to the sky, let your rod tip drop all the way down. You do that 5, 6 times. You'd crank up 5, 6, 10 times and do it again until that jig came up into the water column. You drop it back down and do it again until you were dead.
So what I've learned from Ray and Robert, they've been teaching me different things, and it's really all about the rod. So these guys are using rods that are literally the size of your pinky.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is when they reel, they'll do like one reel, and that rod tip goes up and down. So it's doing the motion for you.
Yeah.
So you don't have to use as much energy. Whereas the traditional way, from what I've learned from them, is pretty much the same thing, almost like the diamond jig, but what you do is you have it flat on the bottom, lift it all the way up, and then just let it fall back down.
And on the slow pitch jigging, everybody's talking about just working that first maybe 10 to 15 feet off the bottom or right on the bottom.
Me personally, I've been doing the bottom, and I mean, I've been, like, even today, for instance, everybody that was using the dead bait because we didn't have any live bait, I was getting 5 or 6 fish to their one pretty quick. So I've been predominantly getting more scamp. So I personally like it. It's something new. I'm trying different jigs. I've been trying a wide variety of jigs. I've got 5 or 6 different kinds now. So I'm just getting really into it. And when Robert and Ray come back out, they're gonna keep showing me. I just learn more and more from them every single time.
Yeah, it's really unique. And now they have a bunch of jigging trips scheduled with us to where you guys can join them if you'd like and get your own jigging tutorial. So it's really interesting. And the unique thing that this whole slow pitch jigging realm is going into is you buy these vertical jigs that are slow pitch jigs. So it's simply slow pitch jigs are simply vertical jigs. They're just shaped asymmetrically, so they don't fall as quickly. They kind of flutter to the bottom. And instead of jigging the rod, you're actually using the reel. They use these Accurate 500 Valiants or Valiant 500 ends, and they use the reel to do the jigging. You have to be vertical. The idea is to be as vertical as possible, and you want to use the reel, so it's either a quarter turn, half turn, or a full turn of that reel. And the rod is a super soft jigging rod. A lot of these jigging rods that were out 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago, they're like broomsticks. They were super skinny and strong, but they were super fast action.
Yep.
And now these slow pitched rods are super slow action, like your trout rods.
Yeah. I mean, and they're strong too. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen even the line that they use. I mean, they're using 30, 40 pound braid. I don't know what kind of braid it is, but
Daiwa 8-strand J braid.
okay. So
That's what I was told by Ryan, at least.
we had one trip, for instance. I've always remembered it because that was the first time I took those guys out. We were fishing 260 foot on a wreck, amberjack fishing, and the guy caught a 75 pound amberjack, and he pulled up an anchor with about 160 foot of anchor line too.
On 30, 40 pound braid.
40 pound braid. I mean, it was crazy. Like Rich and I were just sitting there, like just looking at the guy, like, what the heck?
And that's the unique part about this is they're using super light tackle and super light rods and a rod that looks like it wouldn't hold a mangrove snapper, let alone the fish they're catching on these jigs. And the idea behind that slow action rod is, like Anthony said before, you're turning the handle on that super fast reel, a quarter turn, half turn, or a full turn, and the action of the rod is what's actually working the jig. And when you catch a fish, you're actually pointing your rod at the fish and fighting them with the reel, and you're not dragging them, you're not horsing them off the bottom. You're just kind of gaining whatever line you can. So if he's giving you line, you're taking line, but you're not putting force on him, and that actually will tend to make that fish swim away from structure. He's not going to try to get you in the bottom, which is a unique take on things, because I was raised, you hook that fish and you put the hammer down.
Yeah.
You don't give up until that fish is in the boat, in the box, kill picked.
Yeah.
You know?
That is same exact way. I mean, they're really
especially on a commercial boat.
Especially on a commercial boat. If you miss that, you have somebody yelling at you for missing that, because that
sitting there with a noodle for a rod, babying that fish is not acceptable in a lot of places. So it's a totally unique way of fishing.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, these guys, I mean, they're spending quite a bit of money on their jigs, so they do not want to lose those jigs either. So we take them out, I don't know, 10, 12 times a year, and they maybe lose maybe 1 or 2 jigs per trip. That's it.
But that's something you guys sitting at home hearing us talk about this slow pitch jigging, thinking, well, I want to try that. Just a word of caution. These reels they're using are accurate Valiants. They're not cheap. The rods are not cheap, and you need a rod matched to your jig size. So a lot of times you're using 1, 2, or 3 rods just for jigging alone. And the jigs are anywhere from $15 to about $25, even $30 a jig. And then you have to buy trailer hooks. They don't come with trailer hooks. Then you have to buy split rings, the split ring pliers. Then you have to spool up your reel with braid. So it is not a cheap habit.
No.
And it's a whole new realm. Have you got a jigging rod yet?
No, I have not.
I've been looking at them online.
Fortunately, I get to use their rods when they come out. So that's the good part. But when they come out and bring their stuff, I mean, I think those guys bring probably $2,000 to $3,000 worth of jigs every trip.
A person. Yeah.
And that's theirs. They don't let anybody else touch it, use it. So but they're committed to it. I mean, it's one of those things where
they don't use bait.
So we've done charters where with them we're half to bait, half to jigs. And sometimes the guys with the jigs are sitting there catching all the fish, and the guys aren't catching anything with bait.
That's crazy.
Then the guys that are using the bait, they're like, oh, I want to try the jigging now, blah, blah, blah. But as soon as the guys with the bait are catching it, the guys with the jigs aren't switching over. They're committed to it. They're staying to it. That's what they're doing. If they go through the trip with only catching 1 or 2 fish, they are happy with it because they committed to it. So that is the biggest thing that is with jigging. You can't get frustrated with it and just put it down and just give it up. You gotta keep doing it. Try different methods.
Try different colors.
I mean, when they do it, those guys, if they don't get anything on a jig within like a minute or 2 minutes of the spot, instantly changing the jig out. Quick. Wow. Very quick. They'll go through sometimes 5 or 6 jigs on one spot just to try different colors. They'll have everybody with a different color, typically, different style. And if one person's hooking up consistently, everybody's switching it real quick.
And Ray, the guy who we're talking about, is with Sea Falcon, correct?
Correct.
Sea Falcon Jigs. It's a Japanese-based company, and you know it's legit because the jig packaging is actually in Japanese.
Yes. Oh yeah.
These guys know what they're doing, and we actually got a huge line of these slow pitch jigs in at Hubbard's Marina. We didn't get the Sea Falcon jigs yet. We're getting into the slow pitch thing, and we're probably going to bring those in here in the spring. But we did get a huge line of the Daiwa slow pitch jigs, and those Daiwa jigs are a little bit more affordable. They do come rigged with the split rings, with the assist hooks, so they're going to be a little bit more of an affordable option for people to dabble into slow pitch jigging. But we're really hoping to bring in Ray's Sea Falcon jigs in the future for those more serious about slow pitch jigging.
Yeah, I know we got a bunch of regulars that really they're looking forward to the jigging trips and all that stuff. So it's going to be one of those things where, once Ray starts getting a couple of the trips going and all that, gets interest built up, then he's going to start doing seminars and do them with you too, most likely.
No, I'm interested in going to one of his seminars.
I don't know if you're invited yet on that.
I don't know. We'll have to find out. But it looks like Ray and Robert are both tuning in here. So look at that. Ray said you can get a rod. There you go. And Robert Henry said the 30-pound J-braid, Daiwa J-braid is their go-to. Seems like the 8-strand would work best just because the 8-strand's a little bit more apt to casting, so it's going to go through those smaller guides a little bit easier. Daiwa makes some good product, and that braid, basically this whole slow pitching thing was Japanese. The Japanese companies, Sea Falcon, Daiwa, all these different companies, even the assist hooks are a Japanese-based company, and this is where the fishery developed.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Yep.
So it's very interesting to see it kind of migrate over here to the States. We're obviously way behind the times as always, and I'm excited. So that was a little bit about slow pitch jigging and what you have to look forward to with us here at Hubbard's Marina. Now, as far as something else I wanted to talk to you about was the Flying Hub 2 itself. That's the boat you run the most often. I wanted you to tell people a little bit more about that boat and a little bit more about the extreme trip. I mean, these extreme trips are such a unique offering, and I don't think people really realize what they can get into on one of those trips. I mean, basically, you're fishing 39-hour and 44-hour areas in a single day on a boat that gets you to an area that takes you almost 9 hours on the Florida. You can get there in almost 2 hours or less than 2 hours on the Flying Hub 2. So I wanted to talk to people a little bit more about that trip.
Well, I mean, it's really, it's like you said, it's a unique trip. I mean, to be able to do it, to get out in 2 hours to 2.5 hours, fishing from anywhere from 70 almost up to 100 miles. I mean, the range with that, I can go pretty much the middle of the middle grounds, almost all the way off of Venice. I know during my red snapper season this year, I was fishing just about 70 miles off of Venice.
Wow.
on one of my trips. So it's really got the range and the uniqueness to it. It's
and how about the ride? That's the biggest thing that gets me. I mean, it's such a comfortable ride, and it's so quiet because you're actually not most people think of a go fast boat. You're sitting in a beanbag in a center console, slap in the water. You know. Yeah,
when the weather gets bad for that boat, you're gonna feel it. But weather bad for that boat, I'm talking 3 to 5 foot, and even
a center console wouldn't go out.
Correct, and even then, it's not that bad. I mean, you're sitting in the center of the boat, you're sitting behind the captain's helm, so you're not feeling it that much. It rides nice. I mean, I really do love it. When it's calm, that performs the best. Obviously, just like everything.
But in a 1 foot, 2 foot chop, you'd get your teeth knocked out and need lower back surgery in most center console go fast boats.
Correct.
Whereas that boat, you're actually riding above the waves.
Above it, correct. And hopefully with what your dad plans on doing here at the end of October, beginning of November, hopefully we can get a little bit more speed out of it.
Yep.
And maybe a little bit more comfortability.
Yeah, Mercury Marine. We're going to Mercs on the back of the Flying Hub 2. Those 350s from Mercury are hopefully going to help us propel that boat even a little bit more fast and even a little bit more efficiently to even have a little bit more range. So we're excited to go to Mercury for our fishing trips. We're still with Honda for all our Tampa Bay Ferry and Sea Adventure needs. So those small Honda motors are awesome to sneak up on those Dolphins and for our island trips. But when it comes to deep water, aggressive, go fast fishing, we're going to Mercury Marine. So we're excited for that. And gonna do that sometime in October, correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the last week of October. Try to get some.
Tired of switching out Yamaha lower units, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
You're like a NASCAR mechanic with those things. You could do it, 30 minutes now?
Yeah, a little bit faster. I mean, it's Well, I mean,
unfortunately.
it all depends on if we have to take the raft off, or if we have depending on what side it is. I'm just thankful that we're gonna try to do something different.
Yeah. And Mercury has that braid cutter behind their props, so that'll hopefully help us save even more lower units. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. I'm not excited about the work, but it's something
Hanging
that
new
you
motors.
just have to do.
Hanging new motor is always a good time. So definitely some exciting things coming to the Flying Hub 2 this spring. Guys, we are going to get rolling into questions here for the last 30 minutes. So make sure you start commenting your questions. We are going to start answering them for you now. The first probably, I'd say, 60 comments got cut off here, guys. So if you asked a question earlier in the show, go ahead and comment it again. We're going to start ripping through these here real quickly. Mark Bratchell said, how's the shark fishing been during this time? Mark, we do our shark fishing trips typically, March through like September-ish?
August. Yeah, August, September. But we've been getting sharks just about every trip, especially when we're doing the amberjack. I mean, we've had, even today, we had about an 8-foot bull shark come up and eat one of our jacks. So right there by the boat. So they're just spotty right now. Yeah.
As the water cools down, Mark, we don't offer the shark trips just because they're a little bit fewer and further between, but we can always catch sharks year-round, anytime. We have a ton of sharks in our local waters. The unfortunate part is this time of year, in order to go target sharks, catch and release, we can only do it in a private charter setting. So you can always book the hub for a private charter trip. Starts at $720 for a 5-hour half day for 6 people. And that's going to give you 3 hours of fishing time and an hour ride out, hour ride back for a opportunity at some truly monster sharks. So very cool. Let me see here. What's the next question? Dusty Lee Rhodes is excited for his October 3rd Flying Hub 2 Extreme trip. There you go.
Yep, ready for that. Just coming off the full moon, so I'm hoping. I got a lot of trips that week, so
it's going to be a good week for sure. And that second week of October, we have the Tampa Bay Fishing Club meet and greet. This year, you're going to miss it. I was thinking to myself before the show, October 13th is one of those awesome jigging trips you have planned. Yeah. So you're going to miss the Tampa Bay Fishing Club meet and greet in Pinellas Park, but I'll have to man it myself this year. Weather dependent, true.
Yes.
But hopefully the weather's perfect.
Yes.
For both your trip and the meet and greet. But for those of you who aren't familiar with Tampa Bay Fishing Club, definitely check them out on Facebook. It's a huge local fishing group here in Tampa Bay. And at that meet and greet, they're going to be raffling off 3 12-hour extreme trips with Captain Anthony, a 39-hour fishing trip, or a 44-hour fishing trip. We're going to be giving away 10-hour all-day trips. There's a lot of opportunities there. Plus, other captains locally are giving away trips, which are okay too. And then lots of other great stuff. So Tampa Bay Fishing Club meet and greet October 13th in Pinellas Park. They're doing it at a park this year, some big park. I forget what it is.
Yeah, because they had such a great turnout last year.
There was like 700 people there. It was ridiculous.
I thought it was more than that.
Yeah, maybe it was. I don't know. It was a long day.
Yeah, it was a long day.
But yeah, it's definitely a good time. So come out and join us for the Tampa Bay Fishing Club meet and greet October 13th. If you're not on the Flying Hub 2 jigging trip with this guy. Glenn Foster said, "You want a jig? ? Empty your wallet on the counter along with your plastics." That's a pretty good one. It is pretty expensive to get into, but it's a lot of fun, and it's definitely a unique take on fishing, and you have an opportunity to really dial in on a unique fishery and kind of be on the leading edge. So it is expensive, but it is kind of worth it too. I'm getting ready to dump my wallet on the counter at Bass Pro or maybe with Ray for some of those Sea Falcon jigs. It's definitely looking exciting.
Might not want to say that too loud. Your wife might be listening.
My wife is on the other side of the house. We're good. Thomas Lashinsky said, "Can you tip the jig with cut bait?" I'm going to let you take that one.
You can. Typically, people will do it with squid. But then again, it's one of those things where you want to commit to it. I mean, yes, you'll get fish with it, but it kind of defeats the purpose almost of the jig.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
I find a lot of times when you tip a jig like that, especially a slow pitch jig, you're spending a good amount of money for. The reason you're spending that money is because that jig was perfectly researched and created to work a certain way, and when you add a bait to it, it creates hydrodynamic drag and it changes the action of the jig. It's the same idea as a DOA shrimp. A DOA shrimp is literally one of the original jigs for inshore fishing on the flats, and it's one of the best jigs out there on the market, in my opinion. My go-to inshore jig. And if you tie the loop knot on that jig correctly, that shrimp, that DOA shrimp, works perfectly, mimics a shrimp. And if I was to tip that with dead bait, it's not going to look like a shrimp. It totally defeats the purpose of using that artificial bait. So in my opinion, Thomas, you can tip certain jigs. Like, for example, if I'm using a rubber, what do they call that when you have the big, like the pumpkin jigs? You got the big jig head with the rubber.
Bucktails.
That's it. That's the word I was looking for. The rubber bucktail for red grouper. Yeah, I'm going to throw a strip of squid on that sucker and drag it and bounce it along the bottom. Just because red grouper are kind of dumb. And they like anything that's going to be smelly bouncing along the bottom. So certain jigs I would definitely tip with cut bait. When it comes to slow pitch jigging or really any type of vertical jigging, I personally wouldn't tip the bait. Is there a vertical jig you can think of where you tip the jig?
Not really. I mean, to be honest, I've just completely stopped trying to do bait on jigs. I used to do it back in the day, but I've completely stopped just for that reason.
Yeah. John Bunyak said, do you tie the braid directly to the jig? No, absolutely not. Definitely want to put a top shot on there. And the main reason why, John, is I personally do that just purely for the reason that if you tie braid straight to the jig, it's going to get tangled. And it's going to tangle more commonly and more frequently. Also, I put fluorocarbon on there because that's also going to hide that braid from the fish.
Also, it gives you
stretch.
It gives you the stretch. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if a fish hits it and you have no stretch with the braid, it's just going to pop right away.
Yeah.
And that I've seen it. I've seen a lot of people throw away a lot of money just trying stuff straight to swivel, straight to hooks, straight to jigs. So
gotta have a top shot. Even if it's a short one, you gotta have a top shot. For jigging, you want a little bit of stretch, but not that much because you want that action of that jig. So typically I go fluorocarbon anywhere from about 8 to maybe about 15 foot personally. But the expert Robert Henry is saying 10 to 20 feet of top shot, and he agrees fluorocarbon. So definitely want a little bit of a top shot on there. Now when you're jigging, it would be even more important to have a really good line-to-line knot. My favorite line-to-line knot on the boat would be an FG knot. My favorite knot in here in the house before I go fishing would be a PR bobbin knot. And that thing is difficult, but I'm very close to perfecting.
I just use the
Albright.
Albright. That's all I do.
And that's what we were talking about last week with my dad. Is almost all the guys on the boat use the Albright knot. It works very well. It's very thin. It goes through the guides perfectly, and it's the quickest.
That's the thing. When you're in a pinch and you have to do it quick, you just if you get clipped off by a kingfish or something, you got to do it quick. Whereas an FG knot, me personally, I don't think I've ever really seen anybody tie it. But I know people say that it takes a long time to do. Not a long time, but a decent amount of time.
When you learn how to do it well, guys can do it very quick. But someone who knows how to tie the Albright knot quick versus someone who is the expert OG at tying an FG knot.
Yeah.
I don't think he could ever beat the guy who knows how to tie the Albright knot. Even if you're just learning how to tie the Albright knot, you're still going to be quicker.
There's one knot that I see them do. They have they sit there and they spin it on this device like 100 times.
That's the PR bobbin knot.
That's the PR bobbin? Okay, all right. That's what I've seen Ray and all those guys do. And I just sit there and I was like, man, that's a lot of work just for a knot.
Well, actually, since we're on the subject of the PR bobbin knot, we're going to go to the screen. We filmed this with Salt Strong not too long ago, and this is actually what I'm using to learn how to tie the knot. You can Google Salt Strong PR bobbin knot. Look at that. It's already in my search history. And right there, the unbreakable fishing knot, PR bobbin knot. Unfortunately, embarrassingly enough, that is my hand. But this video here is the video we filmed, Salt Strong filmed with myself at Dogfish Tackle. And the guys at Dogfish, Joe is one of the experts. And this is unfortunately a 16-minute long video, but Joe there shows us step by step the steps to tie this knot. And that PR bobbin knot is so skinny, so strong, and it is the only there it is again, so embarrassing. But that is the only 100% strength line to line knot. So literally it is as strong as the line is around it. So it is an incredible knot, but it takes, even Joe, he's an expert, and it takes him a solid minute, maybe minute and a half. And I mean, you're using a lighter, you're using knives, and it's in a bobbin tool. So you need about 3 tools and a lot of expertise to tie that knot. So it's not something you do on the boat. It's kind of something you do in your house when you're getting your rods ready for the trip. Yeah. And then if you break off on the boat, you go to an FG knot or an Albright knot. Something a little easier, but definitely a little bit more difficult there. So you can play with the knots, try them out, try what fits you best, but definitely some good options out there. So Ray posted in the comments there a link to his website, Ray's Custom Works, where he sells those Sea Falcon jigs, and a lot of good information on that link there if you're interested in checking that out after the video, guys. Don't click on it yet. So keep commenting your question, guys. We're ripping through these real fast. Make sure you comment where you're watching from. Click like if you're enjoying the video so far, and we're going to get to some more of your questions now. Let's hop over to YouTube and see what questions we got there. Let's see. I think I might do... Chance Griffs said, when is the next 44 hour and what is the rate? Chance, I'll show you real quickly here on our website, hubbardsmarina.com. You can click fishing trips and then click fishing trips information. And that's going to show you all the different fishing options we have at Hubbard's Marina with prices. And you can click on the trip for more information. And then also, as far as when they are, under fishing trips, you can go to specialty trip schedule, and that's going to have all the different dates for all the different trips. 12, 39, look at all the 12-hour extreme dates.
Yeah, I know, I think I did.
It's ridiculous. I had to write that, by the way. So all the dates are there. So the next 12-hour or the next 44-hour extreme trip, Chance, is 10/26, October 26th. Coming up soon, so book it up, Chance. And then the 44-hour page of our website has a ton of information there, and a lot more is coming. We're working hard on our website right now to make it even better, and there's a lot of excited changes coming to our website that you guys are going to really love, so definitely pay attention to that. A lot of exciting stuff coming out. Let's see here. What other questions do we have on YouTube? Michael Kane said, great 10-hour trip today. Came back and saw the new Bull Bay rods. They are awesome. My credit card wasn't at home. I would have bought both. Are you keeping them in stock? Yes, Michael Kane, we are keeping those Bull Bay rods, those custom Bull Bay Hubbard's Marina rods in stock. Those are the very first of their kind in the shop right now. How did you like them?
Very, very, very good. I haven't had a chance to use them on any fish yet, but they
Yeah.
very, very good. A lot.
We can get you one. We can get you one. But those rods are so sick that I've never held a conventional rod that you can hold it by the foregrip and the rod is perfectly balanced.
Yep.
It's creepy.
It is. It is. I mean, just the new style of rods that have just really popped up in the last year. It's only going to get better. I mean, it's
Yeah, and they're so skinny. The grouper rod is as skinny as most of my snapper rods are now, but it's stupid strong.
yeah. Oh yeah, they got good backbone to them.
Yeah.
I was actually eyeballing the small spinning.
Oh my
I don't know what you have the name
Yeah.
for it, but the small little hogfish rod.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
eyeballing that for my little 4000.
Did you pull on it?
Yeah.
I mean, it bends all the way to the foregrip. It
Yeah.
is so nice.
It is so nice. I definitely want to try it. Me personally, I mean, I'm going to take it out on an extreme trip and be up in the bow and jigging 200 foot of water.
It's going to be awesome. So definitely, Michael, we're going to hold those Bull Bay Hubbard's Marina rods in our shop for a long time, and we're going to make a few changes to them. I've talked to my dad. He's got a little bit of input. I talked to Anthony, Captain Garrett, Joe. All our captains and crew are giving us some tips and tricks. We're going to talk to Bull Bay and make them even better. But yes, we plan to keep them in the shop full time from now on. So definitely have plenty of shots. Glenn Maddox said, "What pound top shot and what size braid? FG knot, great knot." It really depends on what you're fishing for, Glenn. But we were talking earlier, and I assume what you asked the question about was the vertical jigging, the slow pitch jigging, and typically it's about 30 to 40 pound braid, and you would want to follow that same line with your your fluorocarbon top shot. So 30 pound braid, you'd probably want to use 30 pound fluorocarbon top shot. You don't want to ever go too much heavier on your top shot than your main line, because you're going to be breaking off above that knot all the time. For example, if you're using 40 or 50 pound top shot and 30 pound braid, if you break above that top shot knot, you're going to be pissed.
Yeah.
You're going to be pissed, and you're going to lose a lot of fishing time and the jig, and you're going to have to sit in the boat and tie another line-to-line knot while the bite's going off. So definitely I like matching the line, my fluorocarbon top shot, to my braided backing, or even go a little bit less on the top shot, so I'm more likely to break off below the knot just because I'm lazy. And it helps you get more bites, and you can use 30 pound fluorocarbon top shot and you can use 50 pound braid, and they're going to be the same diameter, so even 60 pound braid.
Yeah.
So definitely can cheat a little bit with that. So let's see what other questions we have here. Back to Facebook.
I see Barry Long.
Barry Long, what is it? Are we still going out October 30th on the Hub 2? Yeah.
It's not set in stone what we're doing, that we're going to be doing it then. It all depends on...
Oh, he's asking about the dry dock.
About the dry dock.
I got you.
It's not set in stone quite yet. I
Yeah.
mean, that's just an idea that was thrown around so far, and it's ultimately up to your dad when he wants to do it.
So, yes, Barry, nothing has changed. If anything changes with your trip, we're definitely going to contact you. Our new system allows us to email you, then we're going to call you, and if you don't answer the email or the call, we're going to text you. So we're going to really go out of our way to make sure we reach you. If anything was to change or threaten your trip, whether that's weather, dry dock, maintenance, or Anthony blowing up the boat, whatever, we're going to let you know. So, hopefully nothing will happen, and we always try very hard to schedule our maintenance around our scheduled trips to make sure we're not letting anybody down. So for now, yes, we're going October 30th, and we look forward to fishing with you, Barry Long. How's the fishing on the pass? Wife and I will be down there October 1st, Dusty Lee Rhodes said. Well, Dusty, we've been facing a very serious red tide in the area the last 2.5 weeks or so, and up until 3 days ago, the water in the pass was literally like blood red. So it's cleared up quite a bit in the last 3 days. It was really honestly quite beautiful in the pass today. No dead fish. Water was a lot clearer, but I wouldn't say the fishing is good in the pass. Offshore, where we're fishing on our half days, all days, long range trips, the fishing is great. But inside the pass on the beach where the red tide's been sitting for the last 2 weeks, don't know how good the fishing's going to be. Haven't dropped a line yet, so I don't know But the bait is starting to show back up. I assume the fish will swim back out of the bayous once they kind of realize the water's back to normal. But no official report for you yet. I'm definitely not going to say one or the other. What do you think?
The inshore, I mean,
It's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while. I mean, we go and fuel up at Bay Pines, and we just finally started seeing big pods of bait back there. So hopefully it gets better pretty quick. I hope so.
Yeah, definitely going to take a while to get back to normal. I mean, 2005, it took probably 2 or 3 months to kind of get back to normal, where the red tide really affected it real bad. 2014, that red tide was so focused in a very small area, it lasted so long, it really almost hasn't recovered still. So definitely kind of unfortunate what red tide will do to an area, but it's going to be one of those things. You hurry up and wait and see what's going on. Kyle asked the best time of year for hogfish, and best what length trip. I would say, Kyle, the best time of year for hogfish around March and April, but we start to see them in late October, mid-October, all the way through spring.
Pretty much when the cold fronts start, they finally start getting pushed back up on the structure. This time of year, when it's nice and calm, all the fish decide to move away from the structure. Typically during the winter months, you fish structure, whereas summer months you're fishing the softer bottom or the gravel, stuff like that. That's what I've learned from my uncle, who's been doing it for 20 years, and your dad, and all that stuff. So
and doing it yourself,
and doing it myself for the last really 8 years. So I just follow those guidelines every year.
Yep. So as those cool fronts start coming, Kyle, the hogfish start biting, but they only get better and better through that cold front season. And I would say the best hour trip, anything from a 5-hour up to a 10-hour trip, is a really good. I mean, on the party boats, the 5 and 10-hour are your two best options for hogfish to target the hogfish. 10-hour being a better option just because we have more time to focus on them, and there's typically more experience.
You can always do a charter too, whereas on a charter, if it's just you and your guys, and typically what we do is we have everybody on the boat use shrimp, whereas on the head boat, you have some people are using the squid, which will keep the grace chummed in a little bit more, and whereas when you're just doing it on a charter and that's what you want, that's what you're going to focus on. You're going to just sit there and focus with the shrimp.
Yeah, Anthony took the words right out of my mouth. We have a ton of private charter options, Kyle, for you. And that's really your better option. If you want to go out and target hogfish, doing it on a party boat's tough. Just because on a party boat, the ultimate goal is to make everybody as happy as we can. And we cannot do that targeting hogfish. Because a great day of targeting hogfish means only the more experienced anglers get a bunch of fish. The inexperienced first-time anglers are going to struggle to catch hogfish. So we don't target hogfish specifically and exclusively on a party boat trip, but you have a really good shot at them, especially on our 10-hour trip where we have opportunities to make hogfish exclusive stops once or twice during the trip. But a private charter experience, you can charter the boat. You can say, hey, Anthony, I want to go catch hogfish. Hey, Dylan, I want to go catch hogfish. Joe, all our captains that take the hub out, the flying hub 1, the flying hub 2, we can all go have a full day devoted to catching you hogfish. And it really makes it a lot more effective when there's less lines in the water. Yep. Everybody's using the right tackle. Everybody's using shrimp. And on a private charter, you have more one-on-one help. So we're going to be standing behind you, coaching you if you want it, or we'll be standing next to you, fishing with you. So definitely a little bit better.
Plus November, December, great opportunity for the gags in the shallow water. Fishing for the hogfish too, because they will eat the shrimp too. So there's always that option. My personal opinion, I always like November and December for hog fishing because you always get the variety of stuff. The mangoes are coming back more and more on the ledges. The gags are starting to show back up. And
yeah, gags are open through the end of the year.
Yep.
And November, December, I think, are some of my favorite times of the year to fish, just because you're not sweating your balls off. And it's really nice out there when the weather is nice. November, December is a great time to fish. Around Thanksgiving is one of my favorite times of the year to fish. But you really have to time your trips around the weather. I mean, those cold fronts are just so detrimental to the traveling angler. Someone traveling in from New York, you got to plan your trip 6 months in advance, request off work, get a hotel, get airfare. A cold front comes and it screws up your plans. We do not control weather.
No.
We do not control weather. Can't say that one enough. So, unfortunately, that time of year, you really got to kind of pick a day and then pick a day 3 or 4 or 5 days later to have a fallback date. Because as those cold fronts approach, the fish get excited. The fishing gets really good up until that front hits. Then that front hits, the weather gets really crappy. The fishing gets really crappy, even if you could get out there to them, until it finally calms down. And once it calms down, the fishing is still crappy because everything has to get back to normal. The water temperature has to start adjusting again. The turbidity of the water, everything got stirred up. It's got to calm down and clear up. So a cold front hits, the weather and fishing gets bad, and the weather gets nice again a day or two later. But the fishing takes maybe another 3 to 5 days to get better again.
Yeah, it all depends. Sometimes, sometimes it takes 3 days, sometimes 2, sometimes all the way up to 5.
It depends on the strength of the storm, it
Correct.
seems like.
Yep.
And how much the barometer moves and how quickly the barometer rebounds. So it's always an interesting time of year, and it's going to be an important time of year for you to check out our Weather Links page on our website or just watch our videos where we're going to keep you up to date. So definitely looking forward to this year's cold front season. In between those cold fronts and right up before those cold fronts, the fishing is just incredible. So definitely looking forward to it as well. Danica Rhodes said, on the October 3rd 12-hour trip, does it look good then maybe for live bait? It really depends on the weather. Again, we don't control the weather, and unfortunately, we don't control red tide. And red tide to me is part of the weather. And Danica, I can tell you, we are going on an exploratory bait run tomorrow, where we're gonna go put out traps. I forgot to tell you about that, by the way. So we're gonna go put out traps. We're gonna let the traps soak all day and see what swims in them. It's kind of like fishing. It's really funny. People get upset sometimes when we don't have live bait. I'm not saying you guys are upset right now. You're just asking a question. But some people will show up for a trip and we'll tell them, hey, we're a little short on bait, and they freak out. Well, it's the same thing on fishing. We go out to a fishing spot and sometimes it doesn't produce. You got to move areas and try it again or try a different technique. Well, bait fishing is the same thing. It's fishing. You can't make them swim into the trap, and you can't make them hop onto the sabiki rig. So all we can do is set a trap, hope for the best. If it's not working, we move areas. So sometimes it's a struggle, and right now the struggle is red tide. We can catch them in some areas, but then when we come home and put them in the tanks at the dock, they die. Or we catch them, we keep them alive, they stay in the tanks alive, then we put them on the boats and they die on the way out. So we just totally stopped getting bait for a while. But now that the red tide's getting better, we definitely, I think we can catch bait, and I think we can keep bait alive at the dock. I think the problem's going to be transversing that red tide.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely still off the coast, about a mile or two, all the way out to about 12 to 15 miles. So that area, that line, what we have to get through is going to be the struggle. So, Danica, as far as live bait on your October 3rd 12-hour trip, it really is going to be a toss-up. We're going to do our best. We're going to keep trying and to wait and see one way or the other. But if you can't get the live bait, we have plenty of vertical jigs in the shop. Captain Anthony's getting to be an expert. He'll show you how, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So what are you doing as far as the jigging for amberjacks right now? Are you using your slow pitch or using one of the butterflies?
I'm doing the high-speed jigs, high-speed vertical jigs, and I'm either doing it two ways. I'm either doing a conventional way or I'm doing the spinning rod, which we say not to bring spinning rods, but if you bring the spinning rod that has, 60 to 80 pound, we'll put you up on the bow, and you can jig up there on the bow. And
one of those 8,000s.
Correct.
Yeah. Monsters.
Correct. And typically, too, what on the jack spot, too, if people aren't hooking up, I'll be up on the bow if nobody brought any jigs, and I'll try to hook up a couple jacks and just hand them off to people.
Yeah. And
to help out.
the vertical jigs, I like using those big butterfly jigs or the big diamond jigs for the amberjack. What about you?
The ones that I use are the ones that we have in the shop right now. The big vertical jigs.
The Williamsons.
The Williamsons. That's the only thing I got access to. I haven't tried really any other jigs. But
Well, the good news is at the last tackle show, I spent a lot of money, and we literally got 10, maybe even 11 different lines of vertical jigs. So
Okay.
it's going to be really exciting to see all that stuff come into the shop and have
When do they come?
stuff to play with. October is the ship date, so sometime mid-October, we're looking forward to all that stuff, just in time for the end of amberjack season.
Yes. Yep.
So it'll be good to get those in the end and hopefully have some fun with them before they go out.
Yeah, I'll definitely be taking some.
I know. I ordered extra for the boat, don't worry. Let's see here. Let's see if we have any other questions. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Robert Eaton said, hopefully the fishing will be back to normal before the sheep's head come in. I'm really wanting to go fishing in the pass. Robert, it was really sad because I was talking about in my fishing reports, and I was taking photos of the huge waves of the juvenile sheep's head we were seeing really early.
Yeah.
Like, it was July, early August, and we're seeing hundreds of sheep's head in the little 4 to 8 inch range. And I was super pumped for this fall because I had a feeling it was going to be a stellar sheep's head, banner sheep's head year. And that red tide rolled in 2 weeks ago.
Pushed them everywhere.
I saw a lot of them floating, unfortunately.
Well, I'm offshore, so I didn't see a lot of them floating. But even last month, Monkey and I, or James, when we were scraping the bottom of the boat, we were down there, and they were just loaded up. There were gags, plenty of gags down there, tons of snook, tons of sheep's head. All you could get. Mangoes, couple of flounder. I mean, it was like you said, it was looking to be a great fall for that fish, and unfortunately, I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully they all were smart and escaped a lot of that red tide, but we definitely had it was a beautiful fishery inside Johns Pass, and I'm hoping it didn't get totally decimated. There was a lot of clean water still back in Cross Bayou. During the peak of the red tide, when everybody was freaking out, the world was ending, I went back there to that KOA back there on Cross Bayou, and the water was crystal clear, and it was a lot of fish back there. So I think a lot of those fish escaped to the backcountry.
Well, like I said, when we go and fuel at Bay Pines, we still see some snook back there, see some sheep's head. So it's not total. They're not totally gone.
Yeah.
So they're back there just waiting. That's a good thing.
Yeah, sometimes where you see smoke, there's not always fire. So hopefully that'll be good news there. But it looks like we've pretty much answered a bulk of the questions, guys. If we didn't get your question, I'm sorry. It is going to be a shorter one tonight. Captain Anthony's been up since 3 a.m. I got to wake up at 3 a.m. tomorrow. So we're going to cut this right at an hour here, folks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Thank you for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. And thank you guys for coming out. We'll see you again next Sunday, live right here. Same channel, same bad show every Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. October 2nd. We have the fishing seminar in person at Gators on the Pass with the Freedom Boat Club people and Misty Wells from her radio show there on Tan Talk 1040 or 10 Tan Talk. That's the radio station. Misty Wells, Freedom Boat Club. And again, that's open to the public. It's right at Gators on the Pass. Hopefully we'll see you there October 2nd at 7 p.m. And then October 13th, don't forget about the Tampa Bay Fishing Club meet and greet at, I think it's England Park. Something like that. Look up Tampa Bay Fishing Club on Facebook. You can find it on the events tab on the left side of the page. And it's definitely going to be a great time. It's also on the events tab of the Captain Dylan Hubbard page. And we'll be sharing it on the Hubbard's Marina page too. And again, that Tampa Bay Fishing Club meet and greet, October 13th. You can win 3 different 12-hour extreme trips with this guy, 39-hour trips, 10-hour all days, excuse me, a ton of trips. So it's a great opportunity to come out and meet and greet local captains and local fishermen from across the area. And don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing,
you're just too busy.
You got it. He didn't even get cued for that. That was beautiful. All right, guys. Thank you. Happy Sunday night. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week at the same time, 8:30 p.m. Sunday nights every week. We'll see you next week.
It's not so bad.